Hey guys, it's Maxwell. I'm back finally, and I am so excited to share some new production tips with you. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to all the new subscribers on the channel. Your support over the last 6 months has really meant a lot to me and has inspired me to keep going with these tutorials, so thank you for that. Today we're going to be working in Massive X, a synth I've been using a ton lately, and we'll focus on crafting a retro wave style lead, like the one I used in my song The Lost Pages of the Ildach. This sound is very much inspired by the analog and modular leads of the late 70s and early 80s. It's fairly basic in its approach, but using a wavetable synth like Massive X really opens up the possibilities. Okay, to start, we'll go up to wavetable 1, and from the drop-down, let's select Herald Saw from the Basics menu. For wavetable 2, let's select from the Drift menu Dual Saw. And we're going to take that second wavetable up an octave. That's 12 semitones, and we'll detune it a little bit too. Let's do about like 11.92. Give it some volume, bring it up to about 70%, and then let's drop the first wavetable down to around 30 or 40. We want more high octave than low octave in this sound. All right, great. Let's go over to our filter. If it's not enabled, you can just enable it by clicking the F here. And Azimuth is just a very simple low-pass filter. You have some other options. It has 3 different slopes. The low-pass 4 is a good one for this patch. Let's drop the bass frequency down to around 40 Hertz. And we're going to assign an envelope to this. So click over to your Envelopes tab, and we'll click and hold the arrows here for envelope 2, and drag that over to the cutoff. And then if you click and hold and drag up or down, you can change the modulation direction. So we'll want to go high to low, so we'll drag it upward. And this is all to taste. You'll hear it in a second when we adjust the envelope itself. Let's bring up the sustain. By default, it's at 0. I don't know why, but it just is. Let's go up to like 45%. And also, we'll want to increase the decay, so we have a nice long decay on this sound. Let's do like 9 seconds. Next, let's get some movement happening in the wavetables. So to do that, we'll need to enable our LFOs. We have 3 different LFOs to work with. The third here, by default, is on random. Let's switch that over to a switcher. And for the first 2, we'll use a sine wave. And for the third, we'll use this hybrid between like a sine and a square. Let's adjust the rate too. So for the first, we'll do about 0.66. These are going to be really slow, just very subtle. For the second, we'll do 0.33 or somewhere around there. And for the third, this is going to be our pitch modulation, so we want it a little bit faster, but not too fast. So like 0.1 or 1.4 should do it. And to assign these to some parameters, we'll do the same thing as we did with the filter. We'll just click and hold the arrows and then drag that over to the box that we want. So LFO 1 or modulator 4 is going to modulate the Herald Saw. And then for the second LFO, we'll take this over to Dual Saw. And then just click and hold, and you can change the direction of the modulation. It doesn't really matter for this patch because it's more of a trippy, kind of free-flowing sort of sound. And this will just affect the range of the wavetable, like how much of the wavetable you want to be modulated. So less is more for this sound. And then we'll do about the same value for the Dual Saw. And let's change the position too. You can change the position of the wavetable by turning the dial left or right. Let's take it over to about 70% for Herald Saw and just give Dual Saw a little bit of a bump. You can already hear the color that's been added to the sound. It's almost like a pulse width modulation effect. Awesome. One other tweak I want to make to the envelope too is to soften the attack. Somewhere between like 20 and 30 milliseconds should do it. Just adds that nice kiss to the top of the sound. I'm getting serious reading rainbow vibes from this. All right, cool. While we're here, let's go over to the filter and give the resonance a slight bump. Just enough to kind of accent the cutoff, but not too much. So like 12% should do it. Next, let's click over to the voice tab. And on our polyphony, let's go to mono. Since we're working with a lead, you can have poly if you want to do chords and stuff. But for this sound, mono's best. On the glide mode, let's keep it on triller. And for the trigger, let's keep it on legato. This will basically keep the envelope from resetting if we're playing in a legato style. It'll just start at the top and work its way down to the bottom. And if I play more staccato, it will reset. Just more options for expression, and it just keeps the sound more organic, which is always good. Okay, before I forget, let's go back over to our LFOs. And for our third LFO, our modulator 6, we want to take this over to the pitch modulation. And you can use either box here. If you drag upward, it will modulate the pitch upward from 0. And if you drag downward, it will do the reverse. So I like a downward modulation on pitch usually. I'll do like 0.16. And we already have our rate set. And you hear that nice subtle wavering in the sound. It just gives it that from the tape vibe, super retro. Great, so now all we need is just a little bit of delay or reverb or whatever effects you want to add. For this patch, just some stereo delay adds so much. So let's go up to the X menu and select stereo delay. And let's change the character to warm as well. Drop the mix to a little over 40%. Awesome, I think we're good to go. I already have a sequence laid out. This is a completed track, so let's hear it back and see what we're working with. If you like the song featured in this tutorial, it's available on my new EP, Last Days of Gravity. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please post them below. And if you're down for more videos like this one, make sure to click the like button and subscribe. Thanks so much. Later.